Hey, welcome everybody. I've been expecting you. Today I'm doing a Home Depot seed review. This is Mr. Fix-It coming at you. Home Depot seed review on an Elkay drop-in sink. Okay? Features of this sink, how it works. I'm going to go over a few things. I've tried something different. Lately I'm trying to go on the internet and do some little bit of research, if I have time of course, to see what people are confused about with these items. When I do the review, I'm going to try and cover that. I've had some reviews where there was something that I missed in the review, and I did the review over so it would clarify certain features about that product. So this one here, I went on, I researched it. As you can see, Elkay sink, a drop-in sink. Okay, if you're worried about being damaged in shipping, this sucker is packed in here. Okay, it's got all kinds of packing, cardboard packing, styrofoam packing. It's got it all. Okay. Take the sink out. Okay, this is a single basin sink. They make doubles and singles, as you know. Now when you're choosing your sink, make sure you know what fixture. It's smart to pick out your fixture first, or if you're reusing your fixture that you have and just replacing the sink, then make sure you know what fixture you have. They come with different holes, and it's always better to order the exact one you need. I always like to get the 3-hole for the simple fact I don't like the soap thing in there. And a 3-hole, I can use the sinks with the separate hot and cold handles, or I can use the single port. They make the single port, but if you order a single port sink or a fixture, plumbing fixture, you want to make sure that the faucet has a plate on it that will cover these holes. Okay, the only reason I do that is sometimes I switch out the fixtures. I know a lot of you are not going to be doing that because you're not in the trade or anything. So just make sure that you're aware that you want to order a sink with the proper amount of holes. So make sure you know what fixture you're going to use first. That's the important thing. Now, the sink comes with the brackets, these little brackets. These are to install the sink on the countertop. The countertop, they used to come with a template. They don't anymore. So they simply tell you they have a quick install page here that kind of goes over quickly what you need to do to install. Okay, they're telling you to put the sink upside down and then trace the outside of the sink, but that's not the hole you cut, guys, so don't cut that line. You want to make another line that's 5/8 in from the original line, 5/8 inside of this one, and that's the one you cut, because that 5/8 is what this sink is gonna come down on, and that's what you're gonna tie it into. Now on the inside, on the bottom of these sinks, they have a rail here. Okay, and these brackets, they come separate, okay? This part and this part. So you're gonna have to take them and put them together, okay? And then that little nut right there, okay, that's gonna go inside this rail. Now there is a spot in the middle here where you can stick the nub in and slide it over. Oopsie, fell apart on me. So, like I said, you're gonna put these two together, and then you're gonna slide them inside here. I recommend 2 per side, so I have 2 here. It comes with several, so at least put 2 per side. Okay, and you have the hole in the middle in case you can't get to the end here. Or, I mean, you're under the sink, so if you have never done this, it is peculiar to get under the sink, and you may want to hire somebody just for that reason. But if you don't, then you're going to have to go under the sink and tighten these up against the 5/8 ledge that's sitting on that cut that you made. Okay, and the cut, they usually use a jigsaw, but you may have to take your multi-tool and just cut it with that. I use this for a lot of stuff. I do have a jigsaw, but if it's not available, I'll just use this thing. And these little ends on the blade, they help you to make the corner cuts, okay? So this comes in, handy, but you just want to make sure you keep it on that line, okay? So you don't, because that little 5/8 is going to hold up this whole sink, okay? Now when you're installing these drop-ins, you got the brackets that go on there, but before you drop the sink in, now I usually use plumber's putty, so you can use plumber's putty. They are recommending that you use a siliconized caulk. Okay, this is clear because it doesn't matter what color, and it's not paintable, so all that doesn't matter if you're going to put it underneath the sink, and it's just going to be used to hold it with a waterproof seal. Okay, that's the key. Make sure it's kitchen and bath siliconized caulk, because the other stuff isn't going to work for long. That will make a watertight seal. Also, the plumber's putty will do the same thing, a watertight seal. Take the plumber's putty like I showed you in previous videos and roll it out and stick it on the edges if you want to use that. Stick it on this edge up here, pack it in all around the sink, and that will do the same thing. What this doesn't come with is your basket. What's the basket? The basket is right here. You're going to have to buy it separately. So the things you need to know, you need to buy this separately, and you need to buy your faucet separately. And make sure that you buy a sink with the proper holes to match your fixture. Okay? You got 4-hole, that includes your soap thing if you don't want the soap thing. Now if you accidentally buy the wrong one, they do have blanks that you can put in the soap hole to cover that up. But if I were you, I'd just buy the perfect one first and just have it all look very pristine and nice. Get your basket and your faucet. The basket, I've got videos on this. You put the plumber's putty on the bottom, okay, and you install. I'm going to be doing installing this later because I bought this for our RV, and I'm going to show you the easiest way to install a sink like this, which is to install your faucet in your basket first, then drop it in. But I can show you that later. I'm going to put a different countertop in and put this sink in. The sink that's in my RV is like so small, it's incredible. So I like to have a bigger sink. I like the single because, to me there's more room in here, and I use a pot with the soapy water, wash it, and then rinse it over on the other side. But I like the bigger sink when I'm working in the kitchen, because that little partition in the middle of those double sinks, they drive me nuts. And then you usually can't fit a big pot in the sink with those doubles. So I prefer to have a single big basin. This is a 21 by 25, okay? 25, 21, okay? So this is perfect for me. It's made by Elkay. This is a Home Depot Seeds review. Now on to what I found out online is the biggest question with these sinks is the gauge. And you may laugh at this, but it's something that I get confused. That's how they measure the finish nails I put in. It's how they measure, shotguns and also these sinks. So actually, I stick with the term more is less, okay? Because This one here is a 20 gauge. They come anywhere, from what I understand, from 16 gauge to 23 gauge. So actually, your 16-18 is going to be a thicker steel than this 20 gauge, okay? Now, I can tell you that I've been doing this for a while, and I have never seen a sink collapse, okay? And they have done some crazy things with the sinks, with washing out paintbrushes and all that stuff. But anyway, I have never seen a sink collapse. So I don't think you have to worry about that with any of the sinks. But there are concerns, like online, with the sound that some of the thinner 22 gauge sinks make, which is the tin sound. Okay, with this one, okay, it sounds solid as a rock. And my explanation for that is they have these pads on the back. And what I think they do is put these as to take the sound out, to take that tin sound out. They actually absorb that sound so you don't hear it. Because it does. It's a big thing online. I mean, that bothers a lot of people. As far as the strength of this single and the 20, I have no concerns with this. This thing is sturdy, and I think it will do the job fine. It doesn't make that sound, which the sound really never affected me. But a lot of people that are in the kitchen, all they don't want that tin sound. I would recommend that if you're going to get a double sink, because like the double sink that is in here is pretty thin, I can actually push down on it a little bit on the center partition between the two bowls. Okay, I can actually push down a little bit, and I do hear that sound. So if you're going with a double sink, you may want to stick with the 16-18 to make you feel more comfortable. As I said, I've never seen a sink collapse. That doesn't mean they don't, but I've seen a lot of sinks, and I've never seen one collapse. So this sink here is acceptable to me. I think it's a great product by Elkay, and I would recommend it. As for the gauge, remember, the smaller, the 16-18 is actually thicker than the 20 gauge. Okay, so the way I remember that is more is less. Okay, only with the gauges on these sinks and finish nails and shotguns, but just go by that, and you can remember, what gauge that you want to purchase. Many of the sinks I noticed do have the gauge on it. Some of them don't, so you may have to do some further research. But I mean, there's people fall in love with sinks just like anything else. I mean, it's like, I want this sink. So then they come up with the dilemma. Well, if the sink they want is a 20 gauge, is it going to be okay? I say yes, okay? As to the 16 or 18, if you don't, want to, take a chance on the sound or whatever, you may want to just get an 18 gauge. But if it's up in the air and it's the sink that you really want, I say just get the thing at the 20 gauge. I don't think it's really going to make your whole life out of control. I think you'll be fine with it if it's something that you really like, because sometimes you do fall in love and it may be a 20-22 as compared to a 16 or an 18. Okay, I hope that's not too much for you guys. I get talking and I never know if I'm going in too deep. Okay, single wide 25 by 21. Okay, it's got the 3 holes. The holes are important. Make sure you know what faucet you're using before you get your sink, and then order accordingly. As far as the gauge, you determine what is going to be right for you. Okay, this sink, drop-in sink, it comes with the brackets. However, you're going to have to pick up extra your basket and your fixture. All right, so I hope that's clear to y'all. This is Mr. Fix-It coming at you with a Home Depot Siege review on the Elkay 25 by 21 drop-in sink. Thanks for coming. Subscribe. Like this video. I'm out.